Today I'm going to show you a drama, horror, sci-fi film called Circle. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. A group of strangers finds themselves in a dark chamber, standing in a circle. At the center, they see a sphere. The group seems composed of a random mix of age, race, sex, gender, professions, and beliefs. They're all confused, having no idea where they are or why they're there. They soon discover that touching another person or stepping off their designated spot will get them killed instantly. They hear an ominous humming that sounds like a countdown, and when it stops, a person gets zapped by the sphere at the center and dies. They soon realize that they are being forced to vote on who gets to die. Their theories range everything from an alien invasion to a secret government project or even the biblical apocalypse. They discover that they can use their hands to vote and that nobody in the group can see who everybody is voting for. To stop the process, they first try voting for a woman who's already dead, but it ends with one person getting killed by random. Next, they try to vote for themselves, but that also ends with a random person getting killed. One person, a relatively young college kid, suggests voting for older people first. This, he rationalizes, is for them not to waste their time deciding who dies next so they can figure a way to stop or get out. An older man says he has every right to live like all of them, but nobody listens, so they vote for him, and he dies. The group tries to figure out how they got there, and one man tells the group he remembers being stuck in a traffic jam to leave the city. He says people then started getting out of their cars and running, and then he recalls being pulled up and sucked into the sky. He remembers waking up inside some sort of ship and seeing a large number of bodies piled up. 3 more older people get voted off, and they soon have to decide who dies next. The college kid suggests killing a 50-year-old woman but is met by a protest by the whole group. They reckon that with that logic, they'd soon get to people who are 40, then 30. The college kid stands his ground and gets zapped next. A soldier suggests talking about themselves to find clues why this is happening. A lady with a hat agrees, saying maybe they weren't selected at random and that maybe there's a reason for all this. A lady, Beth, begins by sharing things about her. She tells the group where she grew up, where she went to school, her job, and her family. Unfortunately, she still gets voted out and dies. They then decide not to reveal names to keep the process less personal. Another guy, Craig, speaks and introduces the woman next to him as his wife. They then try to figure out who's related in the group, and a black man and black woman tell everyone they knew each other, but one in the group figured they were probably having an affair. Another older person dies, and they continue. A middle-aged Mexican man talks next, but he can't speak English. Some members think he should go next as he can't contribute to the discussion and waste time. A woman steps in and says she can translate. A man wearing a tie and suspenders says it's a waste of time and even points out that the Mexican might even be an illegal immigrant, but the rest of the group thinks it doesn't matter. He continues by saying the Mexican man probably stole jobs from Americans and keeps rambling about how immigration is destroying the industry. The Asian woman dies next. A police officer speaks and says he recognizes the tattooed man. He tells the group that the tattooed man was charged with domestic abuse for beating up his girlfriend. The tattooed man denies this at first but later admits. He then adds that he also remembers the cop for shooting his friend when they were teenagers. The cop retorts back, saying they were criminals. The tattooed man then says his girlfriend deserved the beating and gets voted out and dies. A blonde woman then suggests maybe they have to figure out who is good and evil in the group. One of the members points out they can't do it as the world is filled with gray, not just black and white. The blonde woman maintains that maybe they had to kill off certain bad people for all of this to stop. A black person suggests sarcastically that they should perhaps kill black people next. The rest of the group disagrees, saying they don't want to bring race into the argument, but the black man says race is always considered. The man wearing a tie says he's just saying it so that they won't vote for him, but he argues that the race card won't help. An Asian man speaks up, saying he's not counting how many Asians are in the group and says being black won't help him in the circle. The black man retorts, telling them being black has never helped him anywhere anyway. The cop speaks up, saying he's been sick of black people constantly going on about struggling more than everyone else and saying they want things handed to them. Everybody sees his prejudiced views and votes him out. They then attempt to force a tie, voting for the person to their right, forcing all of them to have 1 vote each, and it still doesn't work. One person still dies at random. One guy sees a man voting for a pregnant woman, and the vote ends up being a tie between the pregnant girl and the man dies. A guy later confesses that he saw the man voting for the pregnant girl, and he voted him out, He deduces that he probably voted for the pregnant girl because the group would eventually end up having to decide the last remaining person alive could potentially be between the pregnant woman and a little girl. The group sees this, and some of them argue that they should kill the little girl and the pregnant woman to eliminate the need for them to be the last people alive, claiming they'll have an equal chance if they eliminate both of them. Others think that the pregnant woman and little girl should be the last people to survive and decide to protect them. They then end up staring at the soldier. He gets angry, telling everyone he's spent years risking his life to keep everyone safe. A woman volunteers to die next, and a minister tries to comfort her, saying God is watching over her. A man wearing black calls him out, saying God doesn't exist because if he does, this shouldn't be happening, and calls everyone idiots for believing in God. He then ties with a woman, but it's the woman who gets voted out. The man in black then proceeds to tell everyone that the blonde woman is a porn star, shaming her. They then vote him out quickly. They then consider people with children and families. The man wearing a tie quiz a woman, and she tells him she has a wife. The man then asks the group if a lesbian is worth dying for, clearly trying to signal that homosexuals have no place in the world. The woman then asks him if he thinks she's the only homosexual in the group. The man then gets voted out. They then bring up the choice of who would survive between the pregnant woman and the little girl. A man in glasses says that some people contribute more to society and that their decision should be based on that. The translator woman dies next, and one of them points out that the Mexican should die next as there's no one to translate. A man then suggests that they should team up against the others who want to kill off the pregnant woman and little girl. The group split in two, and one side wants to kill the girl and pregnant woman so they all have an equal chance of survival, and the other side wants the pregnant woman or child to be the last one alive. A tie happens, and the guy in glasses, who thinks they should eliminate the pregnant woman and kid, dies. They continue arguing about who they should let survive, but most of them maintain their decisions. The one-armed guy then dies next. Thinking they're losing, the soldier, who says they should protect the girl and the pregnant woman, decides for their side to vote for the husband, so the wife changes sides. It works, and the wife and husband switch, voting for the black guy. The bearded, long-haired man then questions the truthfulness of the couple being married, citing the impossibility of chance. They quiz them, and they end up admitting they aren't married. The husband tells everyone to vote for the phony wife, but he dies instead. The long-haired man, who wants to kill the kid and pregnant woman, then goes around talking to everyone, getting them on his side again, but a five-way tie happens between the alleged actress, lesbian, soldier, a lady with a hat, and a long-haired man. The long-haired man miraculously wins the tie. After another man sacrifices himself refusing to vote, and only 6 remain, they decide to tie the phony wife and the kid, but a middle-aged man doesn't vote and the phony wife dies. They realize that the middle-aged man has never voted a single time. The long-haired man is determined to kill the middle-aged man, but he doesn't notice the other man signaling the pregnant woman to vote for the long-haired man. The long-haired man realizes it, but it's too late and he dies. The remaining are left with no choice but to vote for the middle-aged man. 3 people, a guy, the pregnant woman, and a little girl, remain. They then contemplate the implications and why they are being put through all of this. The guy theorizes that the aliens probably want to learn about humanity and our morals and ethics. The guy then says that somebody will have to step off their spot once he dies and that the 2 remaining girls will decide. The little girl volunteers to sacrifice herself for the baby. He tells the little girl, Katie, that they'll both step off the platform together. As Katie steps off, the guy quickly moves his hand and votes the pregnant girl out. The girls die, and the guy remains. He sees the baby still consider the baby inside the pregnant woman as part of the decision, and he doesn't hesitate to vote for the baby. The guy awakens outside and sees a group of random people who are probably also survivors of their circles. He joins them, and they all stare off at a distance, where they see a giant flying disc lifting into the sky. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.